Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtadhyari Shatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Jaya Shri
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita
Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda O Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vasadi O Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha
Jaya Radha Madhava
Oh Jaya Radha Ras Bihari Radha Ras Bihari Radha
Jaya Radha Bihari Radha Bihari Radha
Srila Prabhupada Jana
Srila Prabhupada
Srila Prabhupada Jana
Srila Prabhupada
Oh Jaya Radha Ras Bihari Radha Ras Bihari Radha
Jaya Radha Bihari Radha Bihari
Oh Jaya Radha Ras Bihari Radha Ras Bihari Radha
Jaya Radha Bihari Radha
Jaya Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman
Jaya Sita Ram Sita
Oh Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Shri Shri Gaura Nitai नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रेरकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रीला भाई चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज जगत विष्णु प्रपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रेरकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्री प्रपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से गौ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिका श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रज भूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई यमुना माई की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की श्री प्रभुपाद ट्रांसजेंडर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की युग धर्म श्री नाम संकीर्तन की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Keep changing. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Andeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadhanaraghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahityam Krishna Chaitanya Devam
Shri Radha Krishna Padan
Sadhana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Dinamine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaye Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Gaine Prabhave Namaha Madhurojjvala Premadhaya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namastute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine रूपानुगा विरुद्धाः सिद्धान्तद्वन्द्वहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसाम्भोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगावराय गौराविर्भाव भूमे स्वं निर्देशसज्जनप्रिय वैष्णव सर्वभौमा श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरकृष्णे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तवतारभक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते जयतां सुरतो बन्धोर्भवां मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्य पदां भोजो राधामदनमोहनौ दिव्यगन्धारण्यकल्पद्रुमाणः श्रीमद्रत्नाकर सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठालिभिसेव्यमानं स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटतटस्थितौ कर्षन् वेणुस्वनेर्गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीयेसुना अप्रकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Welcome all of you to our Srimad Bhagavatam Sangha, where we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam after a long time. So we are on the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Last Sunday, we started Srimad Bhagavatam in our Sunday morning youth class. So we started with 1.1.1. So I had conducted that class. So I opened the PPT, and it says date created on the file. Any file you make, it says date created. So I saw date created. It said 2018. I forget the month. 2018. So I told them that you're starting Bhagavatam today. Do you want to know when we started and where we are now? So in 6 years, of course, there was this, just like this is Kali Yuga, but in Kali Yuga, this is like this golden age. So that lockdown period was like that time where we covered so much reading. We read like few cantos of Bhagavatam, right? In that lockdown. Second तो अभी शुरू हो गया, but even that lockdown we read like few cantos. I remember first canto पूरा किया, second canto भी किया. So the prayers we chant, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It has to go on and on and on because Krishna's pastimes go on and on and on. Krishna is right now somewhere in the material world performing pastime. Somewhere. Not in this universe, somewhere else. Because once in the day of Brahma, Krishna comes. Now, how many Brahmas are there? Someone says, how many hairs are there on our body? Unlimited. So there are unlimited Brahmas. In each and every one of theirs, one day Krishna comes. That means somewhere right now Krishna is there. And this is we are talking about in the material world. In the spiritual world, there are eternal pastimes going on. All of you can come in front and actually come in front, not just shake left and right. Please. So that we can leave that passageway open. So Bhagavatam actually contains some of the pastimes of Lord Krishna and some of the pastimes of his incarnations. It doesn't even cover everything because it's not possible to cover everything. Because Krishna keeps performing newer and newer pastimes, and different pastimes he keeps doing. So it's like just like Ananta Sesh. He has been describing the glories of the Lord from the beginning of time, and he has never repeated one glory twice. What does that say about the glories of the Lord? They are unlimited. Similarly, pastimes, unlimited. So, in the second canto, we discussed, especially in the last two chapters, we discussed the Purusha Sukta. Yeah? Purusha Sukta were the prayers that Lord Brahma makes. Now, why did Lord Brahma start speaking all this? To what was this a response to? Narad's questions. Right? Narad asked several questions. He asked 6 questions. And the summary of those questions are that who's the creator, who's the maintainer, who annihilates at the end, who sustains everything, from whom everything is happening. These were the actually, I don't know how many of you read purports, but at least please read the summary which Amish Prabhu posts. It is posted on Mataji's group also. How many of you read it? It is like, before the class, before the exam, the teacher comes and some other bright student comes and gives you proper concise notes and tells you यही आने वाला है पढ़ लो अच्छे से and you still don't do it. So he hears attentively. I think he goes and hears again and he makes wonderful notes and he shares them. And I to read because I don't remember what I spoke. Uh, because my memory is so pathetic. But we should read. We should read. I take his summary and I paste it in the notes of the first slide. अच्छा हाँ ये बोला था because when was that last class of Bhagavatam? Who even remembers when it was? Or let alone what was spoken? Who remembers when it was? I think it was in July. It wasn't even in August. It was in June. Wow, date we remember. Then अच्छा in that it's mentioned. Okay. So this is in response to Narad's questions. Now Narad is asking Brahma, you are the creator. If you are the creator, then then you're the supreme. Then who are you worshipping? And then Brahma very promptly, one sign of a gentleman is that, or gentle lady, is that they always speak the truth. Even if someone is flattering us on a lie, we will correct them and say that is not the truth. Narad is telling Brahma, you're the creator. And how does Brahma correct Narad? By what does he say? By what does he say? The secondary creator. Yes, I am the creator, but secondary creator. There is a primary creator before me. And then we discuss that whole process of creation. Uh, Pradhan, Lord glances. Pradhan is like a tiny ball kind of thing. Lord glances at it. It gets agitated. Mahat Tattva gets created. From Mahat Tattva, who remembers this is the first element that comes? False ego. The thing that is there the most in us, at least in me. False ego. So the first thing that comes is false ego. Then from false ego, mode of ignorance, and then everything else comes. So Brahma ji in detail explains all that. And after explaining all that in detail, the reason for all these things to be mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is supposed to be written by Srila Vyasdev as a direct answer to Narad's accusation that you have not described the Lord primarily, and all your scriptures are, beating around the bush. So someone could ask that, agar Bhagavatam is meant to describe the pastimes and glories of the Lord, of Lord Krishna, what is the need of Brahma to mention all these things about creation and sub creation? And ये तो एक दो chapter में था. Third canto में that gets elaborated. Does anyone know in whose teachings to whom? In the third canto, does all this process of creation get elaborated? Kapil Dev's teachings to his mother Devabhuti. Mother Devabhuti. These get elaborated. So the question is that what is the need of all these things to be there in Srimad Bhagavatam when actually it was meant for Vyasdev to simply glorify Krishna?
But ultimately, the attachment or the affection towards Lord can happen in the heart. And we can get attracted towards
How
Him.
will the affection and attraction for the Lord happen in the heart by listening to the process of creation?
We can then get to know that how much great He is, how He is giving each and everything in the universe and He is pure.
Okay, so one thing is we get to know how great the Lord is, and second thing what he mentioned is we get to know that actually he is behind everything. Krishna is behind everything. All these things are done by Krishna, not by Krishna, by Krishna's energies. Yes, Mahesh Prabhu.
Because in ninth canto, the illusion will be destroyed that Krishna is the source of everything, not just the man or the universe.
Okay, so this is one of the ways to show that Krishna is the source of everything. If earth, water, fire, air, ether, and all these things, Pradhan, Mahatattva, everything are coming from him, therefore lifting Govardhan hill with his tiny finger of the left hand is no big deal because he's the one who created it. He's the one who put the weight in it. Like our Sitaram Prabhu says that Newton discovered the law of gravity, but gravity existed even before Newton. A lot of people के सिर पे गिरे होंगे चीजें. Just that no one's that bulb hit that अच्छा इससे theory बना दूंगा मैं, which everyone will suffer in 8th standard for eternity with these Sadhava theories. How does it matter? But so he discovered it. Just like Brahma truthfully says, I'm the secondary creator. So Krishna, okay. So one point was that we will understand how great Krishna is, how he's behind everything, and what did you say, Mahesh Prabhu? He's the source of everything. What else? Yes, Pramod Gopinath Prabhu. Our position in relation to the Lord's position. The Lord who is creating all these things, who is creating everything we are made up of, gross and subtle, who's creating the modes. So, what is our position? Like we had given the example, which I remembered from his notes only, of Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was uh, arguing, and Prabhupada put him to size. Tamal Krishna Maharaj himself narrates it. He put me to size. How? By showing me that I am one insignificant person in one insignificant property, in one insignificant lane of an insignificant area, of an insignificant city, of an insignificant country, of a tiny, tiny planet, of a very small universe of unlimited universes, which is just 1/4 of the Lord's creation. So, what is my relevance? It's not, I mean, an ant is more significant in comparison to us than we are in comparison to the Lord. So, very good. Any other reasons why? So, Pramod Gopinath Prabhu said, to show us our position in relation to the Lord. What else? Yes, Neha Mataji. Okay, very good. And everyone is it's very easy for everyone to fall for other theories of creation. What is one of common theory that we have all studied? Darwin's theory, Big Bang theory, still going on, still going on. So we have one devotee. His name is Yogesh Chandra Prabhu. He's like a very outspoken Kshatriya kind of person. So his kids go to a school in Bandra. So he was telling me जब मेरा बेटा 8th standard में आया तो उसका टेक्स्ट बुक देखा मैंने उसको बोला ये सब नॉनसेंस है तू एग्जाम में लिख के आना और पेपर देने के बाद टीचर को बोलना कि ये सब नॉनसेंस है एग्जाम में लिख लेना मार्क्स के लिए और उसके बाद टीचर को बोलना भी कि ऑल दिस इज नॉनसेंस ये क्या बिग बैंग लाइक राधेश्याम प्रभु सेज ना then there should be a small bang construction company. Nothing gets created with a bang. Redevelopment में bang कब होता है? When the building has to be destroyed. Afterwards, if there's a bang, there's a problem. That's a problem. So very nice to show us how creation actually takes place, so there is no scope of speculation. Anything else? What was the first point? How great Krishna is. He's the source of everything. Then our position in relation to the Lord, how creation takes place. It also, if we think about it, it also increases our faith in Krishna. That he's actually done all this. How can he not protect me? Whatever troubles I am facing in this material world through either gross or subtle energies. Right? Either I'm having some Adi Atmic Klesha, Adi Bhautik Klesha, or Adi Devik Klesha. Due to my mind, due to my body, due to other living entities, or due to natural circumstances. I'm facing these troubles. All of this is controlled by Krishna. What is that verse? 10th chapter, 42nd verse. Ekam stena stito jagat. अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विस्तव्याहमिदं कृष्णं एकम सेन स्थितो जगत. After, does anyone remember what Krishna speaks in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Opulences, right? About his opulences. You can read Bhagavad Gita. There's no harm in reading Bhagavad Gita every now and then. So, opulences of the absolute. That's the title of the chapter. So, for 40 verses, Krishna is stating his opulences. Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita is also in that 10th chapter. In the last verse, he says, Athava bahu naitena, kim gyatena tavarjuna. Arjuna, what is the use of me describing all these things? Vistabhyam idam krishnam ekam stena stito jagat. All this, what I have described, is just one fragment of my energies. It's one fragment. All this wonderful thing. Now, when we have to maintain our lives, we have to put so much endeavor to buy a property, to buy a vehicle, to maintain a family, to raise children, to do all these things. It takes so much endeavor. Yes? Even if you are born in a rich family, it still takes endeavor to protect your wealth and to make it grow. तो इतना छोटा चीज जो हमारा जिंदगी निकल जाता है, that multiplied by infinite, Krishna says, ekam stena sthito jagat. It's just one fragment of my energy. Now, can that Krishna not protect me? It's like, uh, if you watch sports, or if you used to watch wrestling, WWF, um, initial matches will be, one lukha and one, tada. So everyone knows what's going to happen in that. Or if you watch FIFA World Cup, the first round, you will have 3 Sadawa teams and 1 good team, and like that there will be like 10 groups, and then they'll progress. So you know the result. So here, by understanding all this, there's no doubt that Krishna can protect me. Now, whether he wants to or not, that's a separate question. And if he doesn't want to, it's for my own good. If he doesn't want to, it's for my own good. Like that verse Prabhupada says, no? What is? Harishye taddanam sanaye. Krishna wants to take, he'll take. If he wants to give, he'll give. That doesn't just hold true with money. It holds true with problems also. He wants to give, he'll give. He wants to take, he'll take. Prabhupada's father used to tell him, Krishna has 10 hands. If he wants to take something from you, how much will you protect with your 2 hands? And then he has 10 hands, he wants to give you, how much will you collect with your 2 hands? So this is also understanding all this to also have that faith, make it stronger, that Krishna will protect me. And if he's letting me go through a trouble, that's also his protection for me, because that will help me come closer to him. That will make me humble, that, yeah, I don't control things. Like we had this whole Janmashtami marathon, and then we had Prabhupada Vyas Puja marathon, and then we had Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja and all. And then the day after that, I fell sick. I got chikungunya. And then for the next 2 weeks, I was like having absolutely no energy. How do you get chikungunya? From a mosquito. A mosquito which you can do like this and kill. An insignificant mosquito. But one bite of one of those can suck your energy out for weeks and weeks, and the recovery of that is very slow. I was talking to one of our devotees today. He said 1 month back, his elder brother, who's just 49 years old, got chikungunya and he passed away. So, if the Lord wants us to go through these things, it is for us to realize, what am I being proud of? That I'm buying insurance policies and I'm buying security cameras outside my home and in my vehicle, and I've got all CCTV access here, and I've got nice security guards. I can't even protect myself from a teeny tiny mosquito. So when Krishna wants to give these things, he will give it. And a devotee will relate everything to Krishna. And therefore, all these things are there in Srimad Bhagavatam. And hence, it is all actually Krishna Leela only. We'll read one purport of Prabhupada. Prabhupada says this. Someone can read?
The incarnation of the Lord is not the concocted idea of fanciful men create an incarnation out of imagination. The incarnation of the Lord appears under certain extraordinary circumstances, and the incarnation performs the task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. 2.7.1.
Okay. What is the name of this chapter? Scheduled incarnations, specific functions. So now, after describing all this creation, why is Lord Brahma suddenly going into incarnations? And he'll again go back to creation after 2-3 chapters. So, why suddenly from creation suddenly to incarnations? It is there that, okay, I have proved that I am not the creator, Krishna is the creator. And now, after having established the greatness of the Lord, Brahma is giving us information of the pastimes of the Lord for us to relish. Because after establishing the greatness, now you can appreciate that yes, Krishna can come as a boar, and Krishna can come as a dwarf, and Krishna can come as a horse, and Krishna can, come in all these different incarnations. So, in the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned two reasons why Lord Brahma is now talking about scheduled incarnations for various functions. One is for us to relish these pastimes. Like we had Vaman Dwadashi last week. So that day, then, if you are subscribed to some YouTube channels of ISKCON, you will get all classes of Vaman Dev. If you are subscribed to some Instagram, you'll get some pictures of Vaman Dev, or you'll get some some write-ups of Vaman Dev. It helps us become Vaman conscious. It's Krishna conscious. So one is to relish. Yes, now I can appreciate this because now I know who this person is and how great he is. And second thing that Lord Brahma says, why he's speaking this is for the purification of the ear and the purification of the heart. Srila Prabhupada gives the example, just like you have gutter water. When it is absorbed by the sun, it gets converted and gets brought down as which kind of water? Pure water. Right? The most purest form of water. The sun has the potency to take this, get rid of all the junk, and give it back in its original pure state. Similarly, we as children of God, we as part and parcel of Krishna, our ears and our heart will only get purified by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Therefore, Shravanam and Kirtanam are the two most foundational pillars of our spiritual life. Like you build a home, there are foundational pillars, and there are a few pillars which are the most important, which are holding all the load. So Shravanam and Kirtanam is like that. And so the first reason is to relish, the second reason is to purify. Relish and purify. In the material world, what you relish doesn't purify you, and what purifies you is not very pleasing. You take any example, like air condition, you can relish it. It's not necessarily very good for our health. Sitting out in the sun in the morning hours is good for our health, but after a while, it's not very relishable. You take food, for example. After Saturday evening class, whatever we get is very relishable. It's prasad, so it's transcendental. But regularly eating that kind of food will not be very purifying for our body. Eating boiled karela is very purifying for the body. Somebody may relish it, but mostly we don't. But this is a contradiction. Krishna Katha is very relishable. It's more relishable than creation, but it's also purifying. It's also purifying. So, therefore, Lord Brahma now, over 40 verses, describes various different incarnations of Krishna. We will go to the last verse of this chapter and we'll chant this verse. This is text 53, the last verse of this chapter. Mayam varnayato musya. Mayam varnayato musya. Ishwarasyanumodata. Ishwarasyanumodata. Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam. Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam. Maya Yatmanamuyati. Maya Yatmanamuyati. Mayam Varnayato Musya. Ishwarasyanumodata. Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam. Maya Yatmanamuyati. So Lord Brahma concludes this chapter of describing the various incarnations of the Lord by saying, the Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. Should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord. And that is why it is so difficult to get out of this illusion, because it is also the energy of the Lord. But Prabhupada says, we living entities are the superior energy of the Lord. And this illusion is the inferior energy of the Lord. And when the superior energy reconnects through relishing, appreciating the pastimes of the Lord, we can come out of the inferior energy. One kid is trying to help another kid, he's not able to do. An adult comes, very easily he can do, because he has superior energy. So the superior energy of the Lord always supersedes the inferior energy if it is done regularly with devotion and respect. Therefore we say Nityam Bhagavata. It should be regularly done every day. This purport, Prabhupada writes many things, it's a long purport, but one paragraph of this purport, Srila Prabhupada gives the case that people of our level, devotees, practicing devotees of our level, actually should appreciate these sections of Bhagavatam which describe creation. Why is that? Prabhupada will say, someone with a loud voice can read.
Some of them think that
hear about his activities, the gopis, or about his pastimes like lifting the Govardhana hill, and they have nothing to do with the Lord's plenary expansion. As the
Purush avatars.
And their concept of the creation, appearance, or annihilation of the material worlds, but a pure devotee knows that there is no difference between the pastimes of the Lord, either in Rasa Lila or in creation, maintenance, or destruction of the material world. Rather, the descriptions of such activities of the Lord as the Purusavatas are specifically meant for persons who are in the clutches of the external energy. Topics like the Rasa Lila are meant for the liberated souls and not for the conditioned souls. The conditioned souls therefore must hear the appreciation and devotion the Lord's pastime in relationship with the external energies, and such acts are as good as the hearing of Rasa Lila in liberated state.
Hearing of the activities of the Purusha avatars, like the hearing of creation, is as good as hearing the Ras Leela of the Lord. The reason is what we discussed earlier. Only when we actually establish the greatness of the Lord and have firm conviction that the Lord is actually the one behind all this, only then we will be able to appreciate that Krishna is the only Purush. He is the only enjoyer. And everyone else is enjoyed by Krishna. And only then will we be able to appreciate the gopis leaving their husbands and leaving their homes in the dead of the night and running to Krishna. And even in that, when we read the Bhagavatam systematically, we understand that that enjoyment is also not like the mundane enjoyment between boys and girls. Prabhupada says there is no mundane sex life in the spiritual world. The kind of thing we know of when boys and girls dance and then what all happens, that is not there in the interaction of Krishna and the gopis. It is pure love. Prabhupada says the closest example is the love that a mother has for a baby. Like we may get irritated by some child, but the mother, no matter how irritating the child is, the mother or the father will not do that. And they may consequently get irritated with our kids. But for everyone, their child, they have some special affection. That is the closest resemblance to real love that Srila Prabhupada says. So, by understanding all these things, only then we can actually appreciate the various uh, leelas of the Lord. Like I said, when we know that earth, water, fire, air, ether comes from the energy of Krishna, then when he lifts Govardhan hill with his little finger, कर ही सकता है ना क्या है उसमें? It's like, Narad Muni asking the Lord that who's this? Who's the greatest devotee? And he points at a cobbler. And Narad says, really, cobbler? Just go and tell him that he'll ask you, what is my Lord doing? Just go and tell him what? He's putting an elephant through the eye of a needle. Needle? Seen everyone? Nowadays, earlier, I remember even when I was a kid, every home had a stitching, that sewing machine. Either the one with the legs wala thing, which we used to have fun with, or the one with the hand wala thing, which also we used to have fun with. One of these two used to be there. In many people's homes, Master Ji used to come. कुछ भी फट गया तो मास्टर जी आके कर देंगे, or your grandmother, your mother used to do. Now it's just go to Amazon, buy whatever, and just throw this. So the eye of a needle is tiny. It takes even some expertise to put that thread into that needle. And the Lord expects Narad to believe that that fellow will believe that he is able to put an elephant. And he goes and says that, and that fellow says, yeah, very good. So Narad, how do you believe that? And what answer does he give? Put a banyan tree into a small seed, then what is the big deal in putting an elephant through the eye of a needle? So only when we understand about Krishna's external energies, will we be able to appreciate Krishna's pastimes? We know these two famous verses in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata adhyutanam adharmasya. What's the next verse? Sadhunam dushkritam dharma samsthapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Come, millennium after millennium. But the acharyas tell us that paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, and dharma samsthapanarthaya. All these three things can be done by Krishna's energies also. He actually doesn't come for these things. He comes for a fourth reason. The main reason why Krishna comes, why Lord Ram comes, is actually not paritranaya sadhunam, because sadhus can be protected anywhere. Dushkritas can be killed anywhere. Dharma can also be re-established. He comes to enact loving pastimes so that we get attracted. That's the only reason why Krishna comes, to attract us. Krishna's only agenda for coming to the material world is to enact pastimes to attract us conditioned souls. And when we get attracted to Krishna's pastimes, what effect happens to us? Purification to Krishna increases, and therefore, what happens consequently? Attachment to our unnecessary material things reduces. All of you, after coming to Vrindavan for a few times, or after hearing the pastimes of spoken by great devotees like Deepbandhu Prabhu, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we may have had our one or two places in the world which were our favorite holiday destinations where we love to go. होंगे बहुत सारे जगह. After a few years in Krishna consciousness, after going deeper into our spiritual life, after chanting more nicely, after regularly associating with devotees, performing services, Vrindavan seems the most attractive place. Govardhan Parikrama is the, something that we all long to do. Otherwise, someone tells us, यहाँ से वो शॉपर स्टॉपर चल के जाके रिक्शा लो, we will not walk. We will stand there, आने दो. But we are looking forward to walking for 22 kilometers. Why? It's not mundane. And we know this is the hill that Krishna lifted. And if you read Baba's book, he's like, y'all are just going. But actually, there are so many countless places of pastimes at Govardhan. These attract us. When they attract us, it automatically leads to some detachment from worldly attractions. There were one or two places that I was very, very attracted to, that I used to love going to. But and it doesn't go away after just few years in Krishna consciousness. After some time, then you don't want to go there only. You just want to go to holy places. You just want to be with devotees. This is just in terms of travel, like this in everything. We would have had our favorite TV serials, our favorite movies, our favorite so many things. We may still be struggling with those things. Every now and then, those temptations may still be coming. But the fact that we are wanting to struggle with them shows that we have developed some better taste. It shows that we have understood. Even if we've not developed a taste, we've understood I'm supposed to develop a taste. I'm supposed to develop a taste for this, and I'm not supposed to have a taste for this. What happened in the world of sports? I'm not supposed to be attracted to that. What happened in the world of politics? What's going to happen with Donald Trump, or what's going to happen with Maharashtra election? ठीक है, but I'm supposed to look forward to Karthik rather than look forward to the assembly election of Maharashtra. I'm supposed to look forward to, all these things. So, this is the only reason why Krishna comes. And that's why he performs these wonderful pastimes, these superhuman pastimes, these sweet pastimes. Everything is covered. Superhuman pastimes are covered, Sweet pastimes are covered, loving pastimes are covered, action pastimes are covered, everything is covered. All in one, all by one person. Therefore, he's called Krishna. Akarshana iti Krishna. The one who is all attractive. All attractive. So, hence, in this chapter, Lord Brahma describes various different incarnations of Krishna. We will just, these incarnations are divided into 6 categories. Purusha avatar. Does anyone know what does Purusha avatar mean? The Lord expands creation through the Purusha avatars. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, and Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So there is Mahavishnu lying on the causal ocean from whose pores millions of universes come. In each universe, there's a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu from whose navel a lotus comes, Brahma comes. That universe gets created, and when it is impregnated with living entities, in each and every living entity's heart, there is Shirodakshaya Vishnu, the super soul in the heart. So this is called as Purusha avatars. What are Leela avatars? So now this process of creation, basically what we studied over the last 2 chapters, is about the Purusha avatars. If you remember that test also which we had one question on this also. So गलत सब याद रहता है नाभि विष्णु. So hence Prabhupada writes there, no, that it is as important to know about these Purusha avatars as it is about Krishna's Ras Leela. Because still we don't know that. Most people in the world outside think that Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. After coming to ISKCON, there are 2-3 things which we didn't know earlier. One is this, that is everyone asks this question. I know I also asked. Krishna Vishnu se aate na, then you are explained all these things. Ruko. Krishna, then Balram, then Sankarshan, then Chaturvyuha, then Narayan, then Chaturvyuha, and then Vishnu, and then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then Lord in the heart, and then other thing we never hear outside is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Maybe if you're from Orissa or Bengal, you may have heard, but otherwise, generally, we don't hear. So these are a few things that. So Purusha avatars. What are Leela avatars? Pastimes. Simple pastimes. All those incarnations of the Lord when he comes to form pastimes are Leela avatars. Matsya, Vamana, all these are Leela avatars. Narasimha. Guna avatars. Yeah? Yes. Who said? The 3 modes. Then there is creation, maintenance, and destruction. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. So they are called as. There's a surprise test, by the way, after this. We'll send a link, whatever we discuss now. And we have contacted Microsoft, and we've incorporated that technology where only if you do a certain thing will you get prasad today. So you better pay attention. Everyone is thinking it's 7:51. He'll go on for 9 minutes more. Let's just get through with it. What is a manvantar? Brahma's day, not life. Yeah. One day of Brahma is divided. What is the length of one day of Brahma? Which is basically how do you break it up? The 4 yugas, that is one Chatur Yuga, sorry. That multiplied by 1000. So 4 lakh 20, 8 lakh 40, उसके आगे 12 lakh something and 16 lakh something. You add that and multiply it by 1000. That comes to, what did you say, 43? 311 trillion, 40 billion is Brahma's lifetime. But a day is crores. He's income tax fellow. We can trust his numbers. So that is divided into 14 equal divisions. One day of Brahma is divided into 14 equal. Likh lo. And each of those, there is a separate Manu for that. Who's Manu? Father of mankind. Father of mankind. And so those 14 are the Manvantar avatars. Then Yuga avatars. This is easy. There are how many yugas? 4. In each yuga, the Lord's incarnation comes. Right? So, like, what is the Yuga avatar for Kali Yuga? No, Kalki. Kalki is the Yuga avatar for Kali Yuga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord's mercy incarnation, who comes whenever Krishna comes in that day of Brahma as himself in Dwapar Yuga, and that Dwapar Yuga comes after Treta Yuga, whereas actually in every cycle it is Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and then Kal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is 1, 3, 2, and 4. That happens because Krishna always does like Deen Madhur. Krishna is Teda. So he makes us fast also till midnight. Radharani is straightforward, so we fast till noon. So therefore, ulta ho jata hai. In that time, when the Lord goes back, like I just restarted reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. I had read long time back, and then I just read here and there, and I couple of months back restarted it. And so this is my third reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the second reading, what I did is I skipped the first 10 chapters of Adi Leela. First reading, I read everything. It was very torturous that time. And then I skipped the first, Sida went to the jahan se Adi Leela ka birth of Lord Chaitanya starts, which happens, for those of you don't know, after 10 chapter, 13 chapters, after 12 chapter, 13 chapter it starts. But this time when I'm reading again, I'm on the 5th chapter now, 6th chapter, and I'm just loving it because it is describing the internal reasons in detail. And one of them, as we all know, is Krishna wants to experience what he cannot experience as himself, which is the mood of Radharani, and therefore Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu is actually not the Yuga avatar, technically. We can call, but technically it is Kalki. And then Shaktyavesh avatar. What is Shaktyavesh avatar? Empower. Yes. Very nice. Brahma, Narada, Vyasdev. These are empowered, and sometimes the Lord only comes as a Shaktyavesh avatar. But most of the times, empowered entities. Like, yeah, some followers of Prabhupada consider Prabhupada to be a Shaktyavesh avatar, but we don't get into that. But Brahma, Narada, Vyas, all these are Shaktyavesh avatars. Okay. Good to know these things. I don't know how much you observe. Amish Prabhu will send a detailed description. Please read it. We will need to send a reminder to read the summary also. So the first incarnation, we're not going to go through all. The first incarnation that Brahma describes in the first verse of this chapter is Varahadev. Now, Varahadev, depending on which kalpa, there are two pastimes that Varahadev has done. One is the earth had sunk to the bottom of the ocean, he lifted it like this. And the other is fought with Hiranyaksha. So the Lord could have chosen any form to do this, but he chose the form of a boar, pig, hog, the most unclean animal, the most ugly looking animal, the most ugly sounding animal. Like, you have Koyal. Koyal doesn't look that good, but she sounds very nice. You have Peacock. Peacock looks very beautiful, may not sound very exceptional. Hog doesn't look beautiful, doesn't sound. Some dogs look beautiful, some cats look. Every hog looks ugly, and every hog sounds ugly, and every hog is always unclean. You will never see a clean hog, except maybe in a slaughterhouse where they eat pork. Na? Pork is pork. Pork is hog, pig. And the Lord chooses that incarnation to come. And then he becomes Not just the most beautiful hog, ठीक है, सब ugly hog में से एक beautiful है, उसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है? He becomes the most beautiful entity in creation. Like when you want to show off your powers, you will do something extravagant to show off. देखा मेरे बाएं हाथ का खेल ऐसा है. So Lord is like trying to show off. You want to see a contradiction? Here it is. The most ugly sounding, ugly looking, and unclean animal, when I come as that, the most beautiful, the most melodious, the most purifying. So Krishna could have chosen any form to lift the earth. He does not need the tusks to lift. हाथ से भी उठा सकते थे. It's mentioned ना in Bhagavatam. वो टस्क की जरूरत थी, वो जरूरत थी, इसीलिए वो उठा लिया वहां से, इसीलिए हॉग में आए. Done it with anything, but chooses to come here to prove the point. There's nobody more beautiful than me. So for men, we should not search for anyone more beautiful than Krishna. We should not search for beauty in the material world. For women also, we should not search. We should not try to become. Because there's nobody more beautiful than Krishna. One person only. Madan Mohan Mohini. Srimati Radharani is Madan Mohan. Krishna is Madan Mohan. He enchants Cupid. And Srimati Radharani enchants the enchanter of Cupid. This we will study when we finally get to the third canto. This is Lord Kapila Dev, the next incarnation that is mentioned here, giving instructions to his mother. Again, like reversing the general norm where a mother gives instructions to the child. And here, no, when I come, everything is ulta. Then Lord Brahma describes Nar Narayan Rishis. Krishna willing, our Yatra team has planned Badrinath Yatra next year. So in Badrik Ashram, we have Nar Narayan, the temple of Nar Narayan. So that's Nar and Narayan. Then the Lord who comes to deliver Dhruv Maharaj. The Bhagavatam names that form of Krishna as Prishni Garbha. So this is Prishni Garbha, the deliverer of Dhruva. Lord Prishni Garbha touched Dhruva with his conch. Dhruva started comparing the kingdom greater than Brahma to be like broken pieces of glass. Then the Lord comes as Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj's father was King Vena. Vena was a very very evil king. Like all the terrorists combined, evil, very evil king. Because he was troubling the Brahmanas so much, the Brahmanas did a yagya to kill him, and then he was rotting in hell. And then the Lord came to deliver Vena, to show that yes, even the most hopeless people I can deliver. So we get hope. If we consider ourselves hopeless, then we have hope. If we consider I'm okay, then we have no hope. That was that song we sing na in Mayapur, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More. That what is the line? Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar Mosama Patita Prabhu. Narottam Das Thakur is petitioning to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you are Patit Pavan. You came to deliver Patit. I am telling you, no one is worse than me. And when we sing it. But when we actually start believing it, then magic will happen. Then we'll see the Lord taking special interest. Then we'll see our sadhana, everything goes to a next level because we get mercy of the Lord. We get mercy of the devotees. That is why if you pinpoint one quality of a devotee that is most attractive, it is humility. Humility is the quality of a devotee that is most attractive. Any devotee who is humble, genuinely, is loved by everybody. And when we are loved by devotees, automatically we get their mercy. We'll get their guidance, we'll get their kripa, we'll get their everything. And when that happens, the Lord's guidance, Lord's kripa, Lord's mercy comes. So whether a devotee is, externally, however, whether he's educated or not educated. Well, not educated doesn't mean, must not be very bright, must not be very brilliant. You don't have to go to IIT to be a good devotee. We need humility. And therefore, Kaviraj Goswami says that this verse, you have to make a garland of it and wear it around your neck. Anyone who is genuinely humble, and it's very easy to understand who's faking it and who's genuine. But if anyone is genuinely humble, then they are automatically attractive to the devotees. And once we become attractive to the devotees in that sense, that devotees feel, yes, this is a very nice person. Our life is, we will never be able to leave Krishna consciousness. We will just keep progressing and progressing. We should always have this mood. I am a useless person. When I'm giving seva, I will feel, yes, I can do this. And I need guidance. Please guide me, I'll do it. That time we should not use this card. I am useless, I don't give me seva. Yes, please give me, but please guide me. Please give me, but guide me. So, Prithu Maharaj came to show I can deliver anybody. Then Lord came as Rishabh Dev. Brahma talks about this. Rishabh Dev. And in the form of Lord Rishabh Dev, he shows this form of yoga where you absolutely don't care about any facility in the material world. Who was Rishabh Dev's son? Bharat Maharaj. So Rishabh Dev is showing that absolute disconcern for any material facility. We have the example of the Avanti Brahman in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, when he finally understood and got some realizations. He got that when he lost everything and he understood the reality of the world. Prabhupada says, we don't need to lose everything to understand the reality of the world. So if we don't want our things to get snatched, we better become humble and understand the only way to be happy in life is by serving Krishna. That's it. And that will happen in association of devotees, and I can remain in association of devotees if I am humble. And then Lord Brahma describes the all these famous avatars which we know. Lord Ram, Narsimhadev, Vamandev, Parshuram, Buddha. And then he describes over various verses the pastimes of Krishna. And after describing the pastimes of Krishna, then he describes Buddha. And then Lord Brahma says, but who can actually understand these pastimes? Who can actually understand these pastimes? And then we come to that verse which we discussed at the beginning, where Lord Brahma says that the Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord. So, if we regularly hear, then we can understand these things. Brahma says we need association of devotees to be able to understand these things. And for that, before this chapter, for various chapters, he described creation. The chapter after this, Parikshit Maharaj asks questions to Shukadev Goswami. That is the 8th chapter. And in response to that, in the 9th chapter, Shukadev Goswami narrates the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. Like we have Chatur Shloki Gita, starting with Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, ending with Tesham Evanu Kampatam. Similarly, there is Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. The entire Bhagavatam described in 4 verses. So that is the 9th chapter. And then after that chapter, the next chapter, then second canto concludes. Lord Brahma's conversation with Narad concludes like this. Any questions? Yes.
In which category does Krishna come? Because he's incarnate himself, so he doesn't come in on the 6 categories.
Yeah, he's the source of everything. Ite Chamsa, Kala Pumsa, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. All these are avatars. And then there is a avatari, and that is Krishna.
What does this word devotion mean? Please explain.
Devotion. What does devotion mean?
Like, is it enthusiasm, endeavoring with intelligence in service, or being selfless?
Love for Krishna. Devotion, no? You're asking. Devotion means love for Krishna.
Only 2 big questions. One is that, may you please repeat what Purusha avatar means?
Who wants to answer that question? What is Purusha Avatar? Yes.
So the Srimad Bhagavatam also elucidates this in the first canto, where they mention 1.3.7. The Purusha avatar is when the Lord takes a human form, such as Ram Krishna, the famous saint, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so on and so forth. So the Lord, with his material energy, the illusory energy, manifests himself in the form of a human being for the welfare of humanity and to spread the teachings of.
So actually, Purusha avatars are the three Vishnus. So Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. They are called as Purusha avatars.
Last question. So, said that Brahmadev is in Shaktavesh avatar and is Puna avatar also. So does some incarnation come in many categories?
Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
The final question of this one was in the Bhagavatam 2.3, I mentioned there's an imposter Kapila and there's an
Mm.
why is there contradiction?
Why is?
Where is there a contradiction? There is one.
So the original Kapila is Kapila Dev. And then there was one sage also who showed himself to be an incarnation of God. So that is the imposter Kapila that Prabhupada refers to. Just like there are so many people, Babas and others who claim to be God. So in that relation, Prabhupada says. So there is someone who actually claimed to be Kapila Dev. That's the imposter Kapila.
Another thing is money for meeting your time. Much of life for the money for them. So in the chartered accountant being glued to my laptop screen for 14 to 16 hours a day, how can I attain moksha in the fastest possible manner? There is an urge to merge with God, and there is that devotion, there is that love, but there is absolutely a lack of time to engage with money responsibility. And I want to persevere for multiple lifetimes. Which method of bhakti where I can get maximum relief the fastest possible?
For all of us, whether we are working for 16 hours or we are not working for 16 hours, the solution given by Lord Chaitanya is the same, which is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So now we have to, as our Keshav Maharaj says, that somewhere we have to find time for something that is important. We have to remove time. So we have to see how we can do that. If self-realization is important to us, we have to remove time. For someone for whom physical fitness is important, they have to remove time for exercise. For someone for whom dressing up well and looking beautiful is important, they have to remove time to put makeup and to dress themselves nicely and all that. Similarly, if spiritual life is important to us, we have to remove time. And somebody who's serious, then after a while we understand actually life balancing was just a trick. It is not supposed to be balanced, it's supposed to be skewed towards our spiritual life. It's not supposed to be material life and spiritual life. That's only initially. And after some time, it's supposed to be more spiritual, more spiritual, more spiritual. So we will have to even make some fundamental changes in our lifestyle. That may even include changing a job. That may include moving to some place where there is more association of devotees. That may include, all these things. It may include changing our lifestyle altogether. If we are in a lifestyle which is completely detrimental, and if we are really serious, we will have to make those changes, knowing very well ultimately Krishna is maintaining me and not my job. Krishna is maintaining me, not my talent. Krishna is maintaining me, not my career. And if Krishna is maintaining me, he will maintain me, especially when I take a change of lifestyle for my spiritual life. Like Prabhupada gives the example, now that if you have surrendered to Krishna and dedicated your life for Krishna, will he not feed you when he was feeding you when you had not dedicated yourself? And then he says, Krishna is feeding an elephant who eats tons and tons of food every day. And he feeds an ant who gets blown away by a slight puff. Insignificant ant, very, very significant elephant, they are not working. Krishna is maintaining them. So all of us, this is not just for him, it is for all of us at all our levels. We have to value our spiritual life. If we value our spiritual life, we have to get out of the zone कि मेरे पास time नहीं है. I have to make time. I have to create time. Otherwise, time will go. and one day I'll become old. Time will go. Time is not going to wait. We have to make those changes. And all of us, including me, we think, ये एक चीज हो जाएगा ना, then I'll do this. And for all of us, that एक चीज may be different, but that एक चीज is our biggest enemy. We should understand. It's our biggest enemy. It's not the thing that is going to help us in our spiritual life. We feel it's going to help us in our spiritual life. ये हो जाएगा ना, सब सेट हो जाएगा. ये चीज हो जाएगा ना, सब सेट हो जाएगा. And उसके अपेक्षा में हम वेट कर रहे हैं, हम वेट कर रहे हैं. Every human has a tendency to procrastinate. By nature, we have that procrastination in us. And that procrastination for doing something drastically changing my life for my spiritual life, that procrastination applies there also. So I wait, एक साल हो जाने दो, ठीक है ये थोड़ा होने दो, हाँ ये होने दो. So I have to take it seriously. For that, I have to make some changes, and that is where all this will come. How much I understood about creation and how much I understood that the Lord is there to maintain me and protect me, and therefore I'm able to take this decision. That conviction has to be there. If I'm convinced, I have to act upon it. If I'm not convinced, I have to look at my spiritual life and see why is my conviction low and what do I need to do about it. Okay, thank you very much for that question. Let's conclude by reading from Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, so realization of the science of Godhead and relief from the unnecessary, useless struggle for existence are not at all difficult for the willing candidate. But they are very difficult for persons who are not surrendered souls, but only simple, profitless speculators. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. So considering that we just discussed after Brahma spoke the scheduled incarnations, what else he spoke in this chapter, that's what we discussed. So we'll sing this Dashavatar Stotram, and that will cover the many of the incarnations which Lord Brahma describes in this chapter. Dashavatar Stotram is a very beautiful prayer by Srila Jayadev Goswami, where Jayadev Goswami is glorifying these 10 incarnations. It does not mean that these are the only 10 incarnations, but these 10 incarnations Jayadev Goswami chooses to glorify. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you have assumed the form of a fish, Matsya. All glories to you. You easily acted as a boat in the form of a giant fish to give protection to the Vedas, which had sunk in the turbulent sea of devastation. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari. This is Keshav Dreta, and then whatever Rupa, whatever Sharira, Jai Jagdish Hare. The translation of that is, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a tortoise, in this case, Kurma. All glories to you. The great Mount Mandara rests upon your gigantic back, which acts as a pivot for churning the ocean of milk, and which has been thus marked with a large circular scar-like depression. In this way, your back has become most glorious. It is described in Bhagavatam. It was like an itch. When I read that, I could relate to it because in school, whenever I used to get an itch in my back, I used to take a pencil, and that sensation of when you scratch an itch initially is heavenly. So the Lord, this whole Mount Mandira, we cannot imagine how big Mount Mandira is. And for the Lord, it is like that pencil coming on your back. It's like a nice, pleasing itch. O Keshava, Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you assume the form of a boar. All glories to you. The earth which had sunk to the bottom of the Garbhadaka ocean sits upon the tip of your tusk like a spot upon the moon. O Keshava, Lord of the universe, Lord Hari, you assume the form of a half man, half lion. Glories to you. With the wonderful sharp nails on your beautiful lotus hands, you ripped apart the wasp-like body of Hiranyakashipu. O Keshava, Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you assume the form of a wonderful dwarf Brahmana. All glories to you. With your massive steps, you deceive King Bali, and with the Ganges water emanating from the nails of your lotus feet, deliver all beings in this world. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam concludes with Satyam Param Dhimahi. The Lord is the absolute truth. Satyam, the absolute truth. And the absolute truth comes and tells a lie. Multiple incarnations, but especially here, he comes as a dwarf, conceals that he is the Lord, and comes as a dwarf. Now, if you know these kids, they take 3 steps, how much will they go? And then he expands. And he's the supreme absolute truth. And after he cheats Bali, he accuses Bali of being a cheater. So whatever Krishna does, he takes it to a next level of inconceivability. Next, आपने झूठ बोला, आपने cheat किया, and you've tied him up, and you're calling him a cheater. And then if you remember that painting of BBT, and this one man was like, am I worshipping the right person? O Keshava, Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who was in the form of Bhrigupati. Bhrigupati is Parshurama. All glories to you. You bathe the earth in the rivers of blood from the bodies of demoniac Kshatriyas. You have slain bodies of demoniac Kshatriyas that you have slain. In this way, you wash away the sins of the world and give relief to those who suffer in material existence. Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who was in the form of Lord Ramachandra. All glories to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroyed the 10-headed demon Ravana and distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, a feat long desired by all of them, whom that monster had much harassed. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who assumed the form of plough wielding Balaram, Haldar. All glories to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments colored like a fresh rain cloud, and the river Yamuna, whom you frighten with the blows of your plough. O Keshava, Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who assumed the form of Lord Buddha, all glories to you. Your heart filled with compassion, you decry animal slaughter performed according to the scriptural rules of Vedic sacrifice. O Keshava, Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who assumed the form of Kalki, all glories to you. Like a comet bearing an indescribably terrifying sword, you annihilate the wicked barbarian kings at the end of Kali Yuga. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you assume these 10 different incarnations. All glories to you. O readers, please hear this most excellent hymn by poet Jayadev, for it bestows happiness and good fortune and is the best thing in this dark world. So, hearing the pastimes of the Lord, singing the bhajans of the Lord, singing the holy name, these are the best things in this dark world. And we don't have to wait for our world to get darker to appreciate this. Value our spiritual life, and these are things which actually devotees cherish. Pralayapayodi dale dhrittavanasi vedam vitavahita charitamakedam Pralayapayodi dale dhrittavanasi vedam vitavahita charitamakedam Pralayapayodi jale dhrittavanasi vedam Vitavahita charitamakedam Pralayapayodi jale dhrittavanasi vedam Vitavahita charitamakedam Keshavadrita Meena Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Meena Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare जय जगदीश हरे श्रीहा विपुलतरे तिष्ठति तव पृष्ठ धरणिधरण शिखा चक्र गरिष्ठे श्रीहा विपुलतरे तिष्ठति तव पृष्ठ धरणिधरण शिखा चक्र गरिष्ठे श्रीहा विपुलतरे तिष्ठति तव पृष्ठ धरणिधरण खिन्न चक्र गरिष्ठे श्रीहा विपुलतरे तिष्ठति तव पृष्ठ धरणिधरण खिन्न चक्र गरिष्ठे केशवधृता कूर्म शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता कूर्म शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे असति दशन शिखरे धरणी तव लग्न शशिनि कलंक कलेवने माग्ना शिखरे धरणी तव लग्न शशिनि कलंक कलेवने माग्ना केशवधृता शुकर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता शुकर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमल वरेण कामधुर शृंगा फलितैरण्यकशिपूतनुप्रेङ्गा शृंगा फलितैरण्यकशिपूतनुप्रेङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे चलयसि विक्रमणे बलिमदभूत वामना मदनख नीरजनित जन पावना हे बलिमदभूत वामना मदनख नीरजनित जन पावना केशवधृता भावन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जगदीश हरे वामन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षत्रिय रुद्रमय जगदपगत पाप स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवताप रुद्रमय जगदपगत पाप स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवताप केशवधृता भृगुपति रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता भृगुपति रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तरसी देक्षुरने दिक्पति कमनीया दशमुख मौलि बलेन्द्र मनीया सुरने विपदे कमनीया दशमुख मौलि बलेन्द्र मनीया तरसी देक्षुरने विपदे कमनीया दशमुख मौलि बलेन्द्र मनीया सुरने विपदे कमनीया दशमुख मौलि बलेन्द्र मनीया केशवधृता राम शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे राम शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे शिव भूषि विश्वदेव सन्नं जलदाभा हलहति भीति मिलित यमुनाभा विश्वदेव सन्नं जलदाभा हलहति भीति मिलित यमुनाभा शिव भूषि विश्वदेव सन्नं जलदाभा हलहति भीति मिलित यमुनाभा विश्वदेव सन्नं जलदाभा हलहति भीति मिलित यमुनाभा केशवधृता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे यस्य यज्ञविधेयः श्रुतिजाता सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघाता यज्ञविधेयः श्रुतिजाता सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघाता केशवदेता भूत शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे भूत शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे निवाहनि दने कलयसि करबाला धूमकेतुमिव किमपि कराला निदने कलयसि करबाला धूमकेतुमिव किमपि कराला केशवधृता कल्कि शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे कल्कि शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय देव कवेरि दमुदिदमुदारा शृणु शुकदं शुभदं भवतारा दमुदिदमुदारा शृणु शुकदं शुभदं भवतारा केशवदेता दशविधरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता दशविधरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय जय केशवदेता कल्कि शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय जय केशवदेता भूत शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जय केशव देता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय जय केशव देता राम शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जय केशव देता भृगुपति रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय जय केशव देता वामन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वामन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जय केशव देता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय जय केशव देता शुभर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय जय केशव देता पूर्ण शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे पूर्ण शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जय केशव देता मीन शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare everyone Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Rajyari Radha Rajyari Radhe. Gita Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol. Jai 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, श्रीला जयदेव गोस्वामी की, श्री दशावतार स्तोत्रम की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत श्री प्रभुपाद की, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। श्री प्रभुपाद की sponsorship. Yes, sir. And the chatter starts. Today's prasad has been very kindly sponsored by Pooja Mataji and Prajakta Mataji. So they actually serve with us in ISKCON Bhiwandi, and every day they do very valuable services. Along with that, they have kindly sponsored today's prasadam. So let us pray for the spiritual lives of Pooja Mataji and Prajakta Mataji, and for their father, for their mother, to have a good destination, and especially for their spiritual lives, that may they progress in spiritual life by once from the heart chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Today is also the birthday of our Nand Kishore, who is Nitai Jivan Prabhu and Nidhi Mataji's son. He's not here. He's out. So can he come in? It will be good if he comes in. So we have a cake which we will cut for Nand Kishore, and who will not remember this also, who will not know what's going on, but we'll get to eat some cake prasad. And then all of you can get up and we can wind up for prasad. Shri Prabhupada ki. Also, anyone who wishes to come for the Vrindavan Yatra, please register yourselves. If you plan to come and if you've not registered yourself, please don't give us unpleasant surprises in Vrindavan, because our calculation will go for a toss. So please